We've been talking about government responsibilities and the fact that the government doesn't own anything. Now, the government administers many social welfare programs, among them Medicaid and food stamps. Those programs give the money that we've given the government in trust to other individuals. Well, you know, if you want to get money, you have to go to work. And your employer actually insists that you show up and that you do the job you were hired to do. And many employers today insist on drug tests so that you're able to do the job that you were hired to do. It's fair, therefore, that anyone who is getting a benefit individually from the government, which actually means from those of us who are working and paying taxes, should also, if they are able, have a work requirement and a drug test requirement, because the requirements should be the same. If I have to work, if I have to be subjected to a drug test, then someone who is getting my assets through the government, the mechanism of the government trust account, they should also have to do those things. It's about fairness and responsibility and helping people to move themselves forward into the land where they no longer are dependent upon the government, which is good for them, but also good for the people who are funding those programs. You know, any government program is getting its money from working people. Over the years, I've had the privilege of working with so many folks in Pennsylvania and throughout the country, many of whom are working 2 jobs. They have 2 parents working. They're trying really hard to be independent and to direct their own lives, and they're not making a fortune. And so every dollar in taxes that is taken away from them costs them. They notice that it's missing. Well, then the government should be very careful with those assets. And it's absolutely unfair to take assets from someone who is working hard, working long hours and multiple jobs to pay those taxes, and then use those taxes to enable someone who doesn't work. That's actually not fair to either side of that equation. So government programs, whenever possible, should be a hand up and not just a handout. Because what you're giving in a handout situation came from somebody else's hand. Someone who did work for that money, someone who did put forth effort to give the government the money that it needed and used in those social programs. So the people receiving the money from those social programs should be respectful of those who are actually funding them, which means a work requirement for able-bodied adults, a drug testing requirement for any government program is an absolute necessity, and one that we need to stand up and fight for consistently and clearly. See you tomorrow.